Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video. I am Pat from Pat's Path Predictor, and there are now two 30% risk days for days 4 and 5, as well as a slight risk issue for day 3. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Alright, so this is what's going on right here. This is the day 3 outlook. There's a slight risk of severe weather all the way from the Missouri boot heel down to Waco, Texas, including the cities of Dallas, Little Rock, and some other areas right here. Most of the state of Arkansas is in this slight risk, so that's pretty interesting right there. The marginal risk goes through southern Illinois into Indiana, Kentucky, parts of Tennessee, slither of Mississippi, mostly the rest of Arkansas, a little bit of Louisiana, including Shreveport, as well as more into Texas, including San Antonio and Austin. So this is the situation we have right here. Here's the probabilistic. This is why they issued the slight risk. There's a 15% risk of severe weather. However, this is interesting right here. There's now a 15% of significant severe or 10% or greater probability of significantly severe weather within 25 miles of a point. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that right there. When we read the synopsis, we'll understand why it's like that. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. There is a slight risk of severe thunderstorms for parts of north central Texas into southern Missouri. Summary: isolated to scattered severe thunderstorms appear possible Monday for parts of the north central Texas into southern Missouri and the vicinity. Large to very large hail, damaging winds, and a couple of tornadoes may occur. Synopsis: a upper trough will dig southward through the western states on Monday while gradually amplifying. A belt of enhanced southwesterly mid-level flow should persist over much of the central plains on into the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes, which with somewhat weaker flow aloft with southward extent across the southern plains. A cold front should be draped across the mid-Mississippi Valley southward to a weak surface low over Oklahoma, North Texas Monday morning. A dry line should extend southward from this low across the southern plains. Southern plains to the mid-Mississippi and lower Ohio valleys. Increasingly low-level moisture characterized by low to mid-level 60 surface dew points is forecast to continue streaming northward across central East Texas to the east of the dry line throughout the day and into the Arklatex mid-south head of the cold front. Steep mid-level lapse rates are expected to remain present over much of the warm sector, which should contribute to the development of moderate to locally strong instability across these regions by Monday afternoon. The strong mid-level flow over the northern central continental United States may tend to remain displaced rather slightly to the north of much of the warm sector. Even so, there should be a belt of enhanced mid-level winds extending from Oklahoma to Texas and Texas to the mid-south to the lower Ohio Valley. Deep layer shear should be gradually increasing in magnitude, with the northward extent with values gradually ranging from 30 to 45 knots. The strongest effective bulk of shear values will probably overlie the surface front across the Missouri-Arkansas area into the lower Ohio Valley by peak afternoon heating. This shear will likely act to organize updrafts in any thunderstorms that can initiate along the front or dry line. The primary uncertainty regarding the severe threat on Monday is the overall coverage of the convection. Large scale ascent of flow will remain. Okay, this thing just updated. It will remain nebulous at best, with multiple weak mid-level disturbances possibly moving northward into the northwestward rather into the warm sector through this period. The strong EML should hinder convective initiation along the dry line through much of the day, with the cold front perhaps providing a better focus for low-level convergence. Still, most guidance attempts to generate or at least isolated thunderstorms along the dry line of eastern Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, and to north central East Texas late Monday afternoon and early evening. If this convection forms, a mix of multicells and supercells appear possible. Given the steep mid-level lapse rates and large buoyancy that should be available, any discrete thunderstorms may be capable of producing very large hail and in addition to damaging winds. Low-level flow should remain fairly muted through the much of the day before gradually strengthening Monday evening into the night. If thunderstorms can remain semi-discrete, then perhaps a couple of tornadoes can occur as low-level shear increases at the time frame. A more isolated and marginal severe threat may persist eastward, the eastward extent across the Ark-La-Tex mid-south into the lower Ohio Valley Monday night, with weaker instability present across these areas. So that's the situation we're dealing with right here. This is for day 3. Please keep that in mind. Now we have to go to the juicy stuff, which is day 4 and day 5. This is the day 4 outlook right here. As you can see, they now issued a 30% risk of areas for parts of Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma, including the cities of Kansas City, Tulsa, as well as just outside of Norman. So this is the situation right here. And then there's 15% for most of Iowa, most of Missouri, most of Arkansas, parts of Louisiana, most of East Texas, most of East Oklahoma, most of East Kansas, and a slither of Nebraska right here. The cities in here include Des Moines, Jefferson City, Springfield, Little Rock, Shreveport, Lufkin, Waco, Dallas, of course, Dallas, Oklahoma City, Wichita, just outside of Lincoln, and Omaha. So this is what we're dealing with right here. So let's go ahead and get right into day 5 right here. Now this is the day 5 outlook right here. Now I was expecting a 30% risk here. I said it was more likely on this day than it was in any other day. I am a bit surprised they issued a 30% risk for day 4, but we'll look into it as we read the synopsis. There's a 30% risk for pretty much almost all of Arkansas, parts of Oklahoma, parts of northeast Texas, northern Louisiana, parts of western Mississippi into Tennessee, and the Missouri boot heel. Includes the city of Little Rock, as well as Greenville, just outside of Jackson, Mississippi, Memphis, Shreveport. You know what we're talking about. So anyway, for context, a 30% risk of severe weather is equivalent to an enhanced risk of severe weather if this was issued on day 3. So this is the situation we're dealing with right here, so we have to keep a very close eye on it. The 15% risk, though, expands a very large area, including the rest of Louisiana, Mississippi, western Alabama, parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, most of Illinois, parts of Wisconsin, most of Iowa, the rest of Missouri, parts of eastern Kansas, parts of eastern Oklahoma, and parts of eastern Texas. There are a lot of cities in this 15% area, including St. Louis, Jefferson City, Kansas City again, La Crosse, Wisconsin, Peoria, Springfield, just outside of Chicago, Des Moines, just outside of Omaha, Tulsa, just outside of Oklahoma City, and Norman, Dallas, because why not, Lufkin, Alexandria, Jackson's in between that area, so we don't know anything yet. So yeah, New Orleans, Jackson, Tennessee, Evansville, Indiana, excuse me. So that's how wide this thing is expanding right here. So as time goes on, we'll see what's going on with this right here. Day 6, 7, 8, predictability is too low, predictability too low, predictability too low, predictability too low. If you try saying that 5 times fast. Alright, let's get right into it. Discussion. A substantial multi-day severe thunderstorm event will continue on day 4 and day 5 across much of the central continental United States. Large to very large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes should occur. Day 4, Tuesday. Medium range guidance is continuing, coming into somewhat better agreement regarding the eastern progression of an upper trough across the western central continental United States on day 4, Tuesday. A deep surface cyclone is forecast to eject eastward across the central plains throughout the day, remaining in the vicinity of the upper Midwest Tuesday night. The low-level moisture will advect rapidly northward ahead of the surface low and eastward of the dry line across the parts of the central southern plains into the mid-Mississippi Valley. Rather steep mid-level lapse rates are expected to be present over much of the warm sector, which should aid in the development of moderate to strong instability east of the dry line Tuesday afternoon. As a mid-level high falls in related ascent, preceding the upper trough overspread the southern and central plains, convection will likely initiate along the dry line from eastern Kansas to central Texas. Even the deep layer shear forecast remains fairly modest throughout the day. The large reservoir buoyancy will likely support the robust severe thunderstorms. Large to very large hail should occur within the initially discrete convection, and damaging winds will be a concern as convection grows upscale Tuesday night. Greater tornado potential may focus across the Central Plains into the parts of the Midwest and Mississippi Valley, where better low-level shear should be present owing to a strengthening low-level jet. A 30% severe area has been included in where confidence is greatest in supercells occurring Tuesday afternoon and evening. So, yeah, now we have the possibility of potentially powerful supercells going on. We have the potential for very large hail going on. So we better keep a close eye on this. I'm keeping a close eye on this. Now this is the day 5 stuff. This is probably the more juicy stuff, I would say, of the 2 days. But either way, you gotta watch out for both of these days if you're in these areas. Day 5, Wednesday. Convection still poising ahead of some severe threat may be ongoing Wednesday morning across parts of the lower Mississippi Valley and mid-south in a strong low-level warm advection regime. As the large-scale upper trough ejects eastward over the central continental United States, low-level moisture should continue to stream northward across the lower/mid-Mississippi Valley and parts of the Midwest. There are some differences in model guidance regarding the evolution of this upper trough on day 5 or Wednesday. Still, it appears likely that the scattered to numerous severe thunderstorms will develop across the broad warm sector and east of the cold front dry line through most of the day. Strong deep layer shear should combine with adequate instability to support updraft organization. All severe hazards appear possible with this convection. Any supercells will pose a threat for tornadoes in addition to large hail and damaging winds. Even the lingering uncertainty regarding the possibility of the effect of early day convection and some model differences in the placement of the upper trough and related surface features, enough confidence is to include a 30% severe area for parts of the Arklatex area into the lower Mississippi Valley in the Mid-South. This region appears to have the best chance for substantial destabilization Wednesday afternoon in discrete supercells. An isolated severe threat will probably persist into Wednesday evening and the night for parts of the Midwest into the lower Ohio Valley and southeast. Even the low-level moisture and instability should gradually decrease with eastward extent across the regions. Both low-level and deep layer shear will likely remain strong. This may support a combined severe threat through much of the overnight hours. So, already, this is 5 days out, and essentially they have enough confidence to issue 30% risk right here, and there's also a very broad area. Depending on if those model guidance start to agree more towards a stronger or weaker trend, will depend on the risk that's going to be issued on day 3. So, thought I'd let you guys know about that. And this is basically a situation we're dealing with. We are looking at a severe weather outbreak next week. The model guidance is showing more confidence on that. So I thought I'd update you guys on the situation as there is new information that's come out. But until that, guys, that time, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps me out and helps me make more videos like these. It also helps more of the public, gets them to know more of this stuff, it gets them more informed on all this. But until that time, guys, have a wonderful day, guys. Stay safe.